In today's video, we're going to do a short history of food stamps known as SNAP benefits right now, how this program started, who was the first person to start it, and who was the first person to use it. Let's get into the video. If you don't know who I am, my name is Yolanda. This is Jeanette Beauty TV. I do videos on all type of housing situations, low income, luxury homes, everything, and try to give you guys some type of resolution on how to get out of these programs, how to get better towards a self-sufficient life. These programs, to me, in my opinion, are temporary and not to be passed down to your kids. Try to do better by your kids and your family by providing self-sufficiency. And let's move on to the video. The food stamp program started during the Great Depression to give people access to food surpluses and other foods they needed to eat. This was to provide relief for all of the unemployed and low-income families to be able to feed their families in the event that they couldn't feed them any other way. Now, through all of the acts and everything, the acts and the legislations, we now have the SNAP program that you can do now on the EB program. But before then, they had orange and blue stamps. Participants can use the orange stamps by buying any food that they wanted, and the blue stamps were used to determine food only by the surplus. So I feel like that's what the Trump administration is going back to right now. They're trying to decide, and I have a video coming out tomorrow on more states that's trying to implement this. What you can buy with your food stamp. You can't buy what they call junk food. That'll be a video for tomorrow. You guys make sure you subscribe to the channel if you want to see what other states are implementing more changes to food stamps. But this program was initiated in 1939. It was established by President D. Roosevelt, part of this New Deal. And if you guys see the similarities here, they're coming up with this big, beautiful bill. It's the big, beautiful deal that was the first establishment of the food stamp program. This is just history repeating itself, guys. We don't need history to repeat itself when it comes to the president or the government telling us can and cannot eat. That's why it's important for us to have our own and be self-sufficient. We don't need them dictating how much you get on your food stamp card, or if you're going to get food stamps next week, or if you're going to get Section 8 next week. We have to be better prepared. So we have to come together as grown adults, whether we get a roommate. In the last video, I was telling you guys 5 things that you could do when food stamps is gone, when they get dumped this big, beautiful bill. I also gave you more suggestions on housing that you could do, because food stamps is just repeating what it used to be. A lot of people are saying in my comment sections, hey, let's take food stamps back to what it was. Give you something. Or some people are suggesting that they just give you, the government supply you food. You don't want them supplying you anything. Back in the day when I was growing up, they used to have places give you government food. It was like a WIC program, but it was more of a, like they were saying, the blue, you get the blue, you actually had food stamps. This is a food stamp right here. You didn't have actual EBT card, you had food stamps. Now, as I said, the New Deal back in 1939 by President Franklin D. Roosevelt is just like this big, beautiful plan. It initiated things, and I'm telling you guys, we're going to go through this bill once it's done and finalized by the Senate and the President. Once I get involved in it, it's pretty much the same thing. They're just going back through history, finding ways to cut when it comes to low-income homes. The government really doesn't want to give you anything. This is the problem with people, even in my own household, that think the government owes them something. Honey, don't nobody owe you anything. Go get a job, go get a career, start a business, and be able to be self-sufficient for you and your family. So these people who's the government that don't have a real reality about poor people, because a lot of the presidents, they come from money. They don't know what it is. They don't know an everyday struggle of people like me and you. I've been through these programs. I've been through food stamp program, Section 8 program. I've been through these programs. They don't know about standing in line and waiting on your social worker to come out and then telling you that you got to bring something else up there. Now you got to wait again, and the food stamps is being delayed, or you're waiting on your food stamps. You at the grocery store and you think they're on your card and they They don't know anything about this stuff. They just are people that's trying to make decisions about your life. If you're on low income, if you're on Section 8, you're on food stamps. I don't need them in control. They have enough control. I don't need them to control every aspect of my life. I like my privacy. And I don't feel like I need to come down there and tell you my life story for food stamps. For that, I can do it myself, honey. That's the decision I made. And you should try to make that decision too. Even if you don't want to make it now, they're going to make it for you, unfortunately. So this history of food stamps is just repeating itself in a different way. If they went back to just giving you guys going, it's just like the WIC program where they just have places that's nominated for food stamps. You go in there with your blue card and your orange card, and you're able to get the food that they provide. We don't want them doing that, because then they ain't giving you no type of benefits. They're not giving you actual money on the card or food stamps on the card that you have the freedom to go to all these different places. We don't want them controlling us, guys. So we want our own self-sufficiency. Back in 1939 and so on, 1964, Lyndon B. Johnson signed the Food Stamp Act. All these different steps that food stamps have came from, all of them have been to help low-income people during only times of need, during the Great Depression, or when it's a big surplus of food for farmers. When farmers back in the 1939s had too much food and nobody was eating it. It was a big surplus. What a surplus is just a lot of food. Hey, y'all go and eat this. And it's healthy. That was healthy food back then. We didn't have all the things that they're putting in the food now. All of that stuff back then was healthy. So the government, again, is going back in time, doing stuff that they only want for a specific people. Veterans, in my opinion, disabled people, people that are seniors. Those are the people that should be getting the benefits. People that need, veterans that have served this country, that can't really mentally or physically get back on their feet how they was before they went into the service. Those are the people that are elderly, that are older now, that can't get around and do what they used to do. Those are the people that need, able mind, body, and spirits need to be working. Honey, even my daughter, she don't want to do nothing, but she gonna be in for a rude awakening, because in my household and how I was raised, you had to go to school or work. You can't just do nothing. People that do nothing all day, they running up bills. Running up my light bill, gas bill all day. You watching TV all day. You watching clothes. You want to watch. Honey, you going to have to get a job or get a career. I wish I had the luxury to sit up and do nothing, but there's no such thing. People that don't do nothing, they on the street, okay? Nobody wants to be on the street. So take whatever programs right now that you could get and take advantage of them. So from 1939 to 1964 is when President Lyndon B. Johnson first signed the Food Stamp Act. And again, it was going through all these channels, testing out what can we do to help people that are in low income, that don't have money in a time of need. Now, again, it started with the Great Depression. We ain't in no Great Depression right now, but the government knows that housing, and every government that comes into office, they're going to find a way to try to accommodate everybody, low income people, and they're going to do it the way they want to. Unfortunately, we're not in control about what and how they do it. They're just going to do it to better way that they see fit. This ain't got nothing to do with us, because if it was us, the presidency would be the Democrats, who was letting you guys have food stamps and doing all the things that the Republicans are not going to allow, because they feel like that's a deficit, and that's why the country doesn't have money now. So again, the food stamp program is went through all these channels, and then the Food Stamp Act in 1964 was signed by Lyndon B. Johnson. Now, Lyndon B. Johnson was the president back then, and he said this was a way, his war on poverty and the way that, people shouldn't live like this and blah, blah, blah. Again, presidents don't have a clue. They're not the ones that have to get the food stamp. They're not the ones that have to go to the food stamp office and apply and wait. And they're not the ones that have to do this. And even though, it's called SNAP now, but for 80 years almost, 1939 to 2025, that's almost 2039 would be 100 years. It's still doing the same thing, helping people, millions of people all over that need the assistance but now they are just changing it to accommodate a certain class of people. They're doing it the way that they want to do it. And now you don't have a food stamp booklet where you're taking food stamps out. You just have a food stamp card that you're able to tap or stick in a machine and get what you want. They don't have a surplus or a place that you can now go to and get your orange and blue card and say, hey, I want to be able to get this food stamp, get these items, and then I want to get these items. And somebody's standing there to give you bags of food. They don't have that anymore, but hopefully they don't start that, because again, that's how it is with someone. My kids was on WIC when I was breastfeeding and they gave me the WIC program. I went to a WIC place. It was like a grocery store, but it was only WIC food. And they supplied me with foods because I was breastfeeding. It didn't even have anything to do. I had a small baby and I was breastfeeding the baby, and they was pretty much trying to give me foods that's going to keep my fluids going for to feed the baby. And they also had all type of stuff there, but I don't even know if those places still exist right now. I have to do some research and do a video on WIC. But right now, the contributions go to those two presidents I mentioned earlier. They are the ones that started to find a way to help low-income families, as of what food stamp program to the Food Stamp Act to SNAP on an EBT card. Not only did food stamp program has initiated other programs that I have a video coming out next week with all different type of low-income or discounts for low-income families, all type of resources. Of course, you know, if you are qualified for food stamp and you make a certain amount of money, then you can possibly qualify for Section 8 or low income housing. All of it is resources to help low income families. But again, the low income families are about to become me, who make under $200,000 a year, because it's not going to be no such thing as poverty when they get done, because they're going to make sure everybody is working a job, and only the people that are what they consider are needy. So this is just my breakdown, guys, of how the food stamp program initiated. I'm not going to go through every year of the program, because again, it's just progressed from the initial orange and blue food stamps to hand food stamps. And I'll show you a picture here of hand food stamps, and now it's the EBT SNAP. But again, it's all the same thing, and all the other resources is all the same thing. It's one helping out the other. All this stuff is to help people that don't have. If you are a person that have money and they know it and they go through your finances, this is why when I was on food stamp, they was asking me for my bank statement. Oh, why you got this type of money saved? And they ask these type of questions because they don't want you to have anything saved. If you got money that you can save, honey, you can buy food. This is what the lady told me. If you got this type of money saved, and again, I got cousins like, oh, but you didn't supposed to tell them that. Well, I don't know. I'm not out here trying to get over and I'm just trying to do honest stuff, because I don't want these people coming back saying that I'm finna be, investigated for fraud or nothing like that. I'm trying to be honest and do what I need to do. If I don't qualify for it, then I gotta find another way. You know what I mean? You gotta find another way if they tell you no. So again, I'm just giving you guys a brief description of the food stamp program, how it started, who started, and the first recipient of the food stamps were Mayville McFiggin of Rochester, New York, in 1939. So she was the first recipient. So 1961 to 1964 is when they was trying to get the program together. All this stuff they do tests on to see what's gonna work. From 1961 to 1964, they began with Lyndon B. Johnson, the pilot food stamp program, and that's how they came up with the Food Stamp Act and everything. And it's just, went all the way up until what is now. Every president that has come along has initiated funds for the food stamp program, because it's an act of Congress. And even when Trump get out of there, if somebody else get in there, they're going to have their spend on food stamp. Every president, again, they initiate however the amounts of money that are to these different programs. We don't have any control. Everybody pay taxes, even low income people, they pay taxes too, but we don't have no control over what where they put our tax money. People always saying, oh, you city workers, y'all, we pay y'all. You don't know what you pay, honey. You pay into our tax dollars going to a lot of different programs, okay? People sit up and talk about, oh, you know, we paying your salary, we pay this and that. Yeah, we pay people that work, that get food stamps, they pay taxes too. You know, they're paying into the system. That's helping them. They don't pay a lot of taxes, but they still pay taxes. So I'm going to get off here and I'm going to have some resources in the description box for you guys. Again, I'll see you guys tomorrow in the video where I'm explaining other states that have taken the initiative to say you can have junk food. Again, all these senators and all these governors of your states that you have voted for are going to say that our Republicans majority are going to say, hey, we don't want this for our people. We want them to have a better living. So that's what the food stamp program is. It's pretty much started from a surplus of food with 2 food stamps. Again, just to recap, the blue and orange food stamp. Then later on, it became a food stamp program act. And again, you had the book of food stamps with different books, different, you know, $1, $2, whatever. And now you have the SNAP benefits where you have the EBT card, which is loaded on the day that you get your food stamp. You have to go to the DHS office and apply and whatnot. And, you know, now they even have it where you can apply online. Even with Section 8, you can apply online. So everything is progressing with everything is progressing with time and the things that we have access to, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. Give me a thumbs up if you did. Make sure you guys subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you in the next video.